I'm life and business coach Samantha Sifring, and this is the Online Business Building Mamas podcast, where you learn how to build a wildly successful business from home while raising kids. Welcome to another episode. I am so happy today. I spent the past few days up in the mountains with a couple of my clients, planning for the next few years of their businesses and really specifically diving into what they're going to do in 2020 and what they need to do in the end of 2019 to build to where they're going in 2020. It was so much fun. We really had a great time. The lodge was beautiful. We had a spa day. Everybody had their own bathroom, which was amazing. And it really was just a good time in so many ways. Getting away, unplugging. They're both moms. So I just felt like getting away and being able to sleep, not disturbed, being able to have meals undisturbed, all of those things is just good in itself. And being able to talk business as much as we wanted was also amazing. So I for sure was not totally positive if I wanted to continue to do retreats, if that was something that I really wanted to incorporate into my business or not. And after this, I just feel like I've got to keep having retreats. So right now, I have been doing some brainstorming of if I want to do like quarterly retreats or if I want to just incorporate a retreat in for my one-on-one clients, like a VIP day almost kind of thing. Still figuring that out, but it was amazing. So I hope that the next time I'm offering a retreat, you will be super excited to join because there's really no way to replicate that. Someone in my Facebook group had asked about virtual retreats, and I was like, it doesn't even seem like a worthwhile use of time. It's just so different when you're cooking meals together and you're going on walks together and you're just hanging out and having downtime and sitting by the fire and riding to the lodge from the airport together. All of those things, just it is a totally different experience and I love it. All right, today I'm talking about something that is inspired by a couple conversations I've had with clients lately and also a book that I'm reading right now. So this book is called The Order of Time. It is by a theoretical physicist or something, very smart and very academic. And it's mainly over my head. It is one of those things where I'm not trying to understand every single thing that I'm hearing because I don't know if that would be possible. But I've been just picking up concepts and really appreciating what I do understand from this book. So if you're interested in reading it, sure, definitely go check it out. But just know, it's pretty intense. I'm reading it for my book club, and most of us are like, whoa, this is pretty advanced stuff. And I did not study physics very much. So, and it is like a super advanced theoretical kind of stuff. So anyway, I do recommend it, but with that caveat that it's definitely going to be over your head unless you are like an advanced scientist. And maybe you are, in which case, explain it to me, please. So today I wanted to talk about the thing that is actually scarce, and I titled this YOLO, as in you only live once, that funny acronym. But what I really wanted to talk about was how your life and you are scarce, and how we don't necessarily realize that as we're going through our lives, especially when we're in this phase of raising our kids. And you know how they say like the days are long and the years are short? I feel like when you have young kids, you feel that so intensely that the days really feel long sometimes. And I have found once the kids have gotten into elementary school, time suddenly feels like it's flying by. So if you're in that phase too, then we are probably on the same page. And then, once the kids are in high school and that kind of thing, all I hear from my friends in that boat are how quickly it goes. So sometimes it can feel long, sometimes it can feel short, but a lot of us are putting ourselves, our lives, our dreams on hold because we are in this phase of life, and that is really the main point that I wanted to talk about today. So, getting back to the book, there was this idea that our lives, our reality, our time is filled up with events versus things. So they, in the book, talked about a rock versus a kiss, and you wouldn't like ask, where is the kiss tomorrow, right? It is just so fleeting. And I think that as humans, I know for sure me, like when I'm up in the mountains and stuff, I look at the mountains, I look at the rocks, and I think like that is going to last forever. That's kind of how it feels. Like they've been there for so long, they feel eternal. And what's interesting when you get into the geology of mountains and rocks and all of that, which I did a lot this summer on a road trip in Utah, what you really learn is how much they have changed and how much they do change. And even these things that feel permanent are really fleeting in the grand scheme of like all of time, right? All of eternity. A mountain or a rock seems so short. But to us, from our perspective, it does seem like it's something that's super lasting. So that idea might be a little bit out there, but that idea of events versus things I found really interesting. And he said that we're in a process of becoming versus being. And I think that was really surprising and interesting for me to think about, that we're never being the same thing. We're always becoming something. And that really sparked my thoughts for today's episode and this question of who you are becoming, what you are becoming, what you are creating. So as this book started, he said essentially that time is something that we made up, and it's totally relative to our unique position in the universe. And if you were in some other galaxy, on some other planet, your time would be completely different because you would have a different sun and all of those things. Like it would be completely different. And I always kind of knew that we made it up, but I feel like I know it on a different level now and find it really interesting and mind-bending to really think about the fact that time is something that we created, and it has evolved so much throughout human life and human civilization, really. So while time is something that's not really real and it's totally made up, our lives here on Earth right now are finite. They are limited. Who you are right now, listening to this podcast right now, today, is a limited resource. One of the most limited in the world. Like even thinking about rare things, rare jewels and minerals and all of that, our lives are more rare. Our lives are more limited. But we act like we have endless time. I was talking to a client about this the other day. She was talking about wasting time, and it just hit me like, if we truly felt our mortality all of the time, we would never use the phrase wasting time. Not that we would never relax or anything like that, but we would never waste time, and we would never use that phrase. If you really knew how limited it was you would not waste. We act like we have a really long time. So we think about like where I'm going to be in 10 years. We think about retirement, all of these things, when none of those things are really guaranteed. It's almost like we're saving something for a special occasion. I don't know if you've ever done that. I totally do this with like beauty products. I will save them for a special occasion, and then years will go by and I have never used it. It's like I have a sheet mask like this. Actually, I've started using my special occasion sheet masks, but I had a bunch of them that were like all of my favorite flavors, like rose and that kind of thing, that I was saving for who knows what, right? I have no idea. I took a lot of them to LA with me. But we just think like, oh, I can't use this just on a regular Tuesday. I have to use it on a special occasion. And then 5 years go by and you've never used it. And sometimes, like with the sheet masks, they can dry out. I've also had like little creams and stuff get like rubbery or rotten or that kind of thing because I didn't use it. I didn't enjoy it when I had it. I think this is also like any of us out there who have like china or silver or those kinds of things. Like I'm very traditional about those kinds of things. So I have china and silver, and I try to use them not just on holidays. I try to use them just every once in a while for fun and really cherish getting to use them and not saving them for a special occasion. So it's the same with your life. It's the same with your dreams. I'm not suggesting that you embrace YOLO and have no regard for the future that is most likely going to happen. But don't act like there's time later to pursue your passion, to fulfill your purpose, to chase your dreams, and do the thing that you know you're supposed to be doing. Don't act like all of that can happen someday, next year, when the kids are older. All of those kinds of stories that we tell ourselves. More life isn't promised to you. A healthy life also isn't promised to you. We can look at this and think it's totally morbid and put our heads back in the sand, or we can use this as the most potent rocket fuel out there to propel us and motivate us into action toward what we want to create in this life. And that's how I choose to use it. I don't sit around thinking about my mortality all the time, but when I do, I use it to fuel me. I think it's easy to get fearful, to get depressed, to get many other kinds of feelings when we realize that we are a limited time resource. But you can really use that to question, do I love what I'm doing now? Am I chasing what I know that I should be chasing right now? Am I really fulfilling what deep down I know I'm supposed to be doing? And I think we all have that. I think it can take a lot of forms, but I think that we all have that. And if you've been waiting, this is your wake-up call. I like to think of our life as a budget. Like we've been given a limited number of things. And what's weird about life is we don't even know how big the budget is. But if you think about how you spend time, you're acting like the budget is never ending in a lot of ways. I know this because we all do it. But if it truly was, like if you truly grasped it as a budget, a limited budget, would you make choices differently? I have a client who dreamed of being a writer since she was 20 years old. At 40 this year, she submitted her first manuscript to publishers. Doing this moved her to tears, thinking about how simple it really was to do and how long she had waited to do it. And she's finally now doing it and so proud. I have another client who had planned to climb the corporate ladder and top out at the low to mid 6 figures and be super happy. We've been working together this year. And in that time, she's grown from $1,000 a month to $10,000 a month and counting. She's left that corporate career and she's planning her way to $1 million business. Crazy, right? I myself never dreamed that I would ever make more than $50,000. That averages to $4,000 a month, which now blows my mind. I remember sitting and thinking $4,000 a month was like this life-changing amount that I couldn't even imagine. And now I'm like, wow, if that ever happened again, I would be pretty upset. That is like so far below my like minimum standard month now. But it was a dream once, like it was once something that felt out of reach and like the total max of what I could ever do. I'm sitting at 3 times that right now and still growing. I'm doing what I love, and I'm doing all of this work between school drop-off and pickup, which I love. I always knew that I was meant for something great growing up. I don't know if you ever had that feeling, but I didn't know what it was. I just felt that it was there. When I had kids, I lost that vision and I lost that belief, and I became disconnected from that and didn't really have any kind of thoughts of what I was supposed to do. Just mostly felt unfulfilled and really frustrated. Whether you have felt that or never felt that at all, I truly think that we all have something that we know that we're meant to do. And it can take a lot of different forms, but I want you to just kind of ask yourself, like, what is that thing that I'm meant to do, that I know that I have deep down? Maybe I had it when I was a kid. Maybe it's something that I've been saying maybe later. What is that thing? Most of us are waiting to really dive in and do that thing. And here's what I want you to know today. Don't wait. You are a limited time offer. You are the scarcest resource. In the grand scheme of history and the universe, we aren't even a blip on the radar. But in this time we do have, we can create a lasting impact. Really let that sink in. Do you love how you're spending your life budget? Do you love what you're creating right now? And who are you becoming right now, moment by moment? All right, mamas, think about these questions and really get in touch with that thing that you feel like you're meant to do and start questioning why you're waiting. Start questioning why now isn't the most perfect time. Now is the only time that you can make changes, that you can implement decisions. Now is the only time that you can move yourself forward. Okay, friend, I don't want you to think that building a business, building an empire is the answer to this for everyone. I know not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Actually, 2 of my closest friends are not entrepreneurs at all and don't want to be and are totally content with that. But if you are listening to this podcast, you might be meant for that. If you're ready to explore what could be, what you could become, where you could take this, the kind of impact that you could leave with your time here, and how I could help, I would love to chat with you. What we'll talk about is where you are right now, what you're doing right now, whether you have a business or not. We're going to talk about your goals and your vision and that little urge inside of you. We're going to grow that and see what it turns into. And I will give you my thoughts on exactly how to get there from where you are now by setting goals that you know exactly how to achieve in the time period that you decide. This is the most powerful tool to actualize any of your dreams, no matter what they are. I would love to chat with you more about that and more about how I can help you create your dreams and do the thing that you know you're meant to do. If you're interested in that, you can check out my calendar at bit.ly/callsamantha, bit.ly/callsamantha. If you like this podcast, I want to invite you to coach with me over in my program, Mama to CEO. There's you, and there's the consistent income you want to make in your business, and I help you remove everything standing in between. It's lifetime access for mastering your marketing, sales, time, and everything else you need to have the business and life you really want. Whether it's making your first 1,000 or 100,000, I can help you do it. To join, go to mamatoceo.com, mamatoceo.com.